Hey guys, waiting for the ad to finish and there isn't one. So, hey Stuart, hope you're doing all right. Jim Henry, g'day. Been sick. I've been sick too. I'm sick of the rain. That's where we're at. Sick of the rain. Had enough. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Whoever's in the background there. It's all happening, I think. Maybe. Or maybe not, depending. Mark, g'day. Mark Osborne, good day. Is everyone accounted for? What's happening? Seriously, it's all happening. It's been a big week. Got engines out, messing around with them and stuff. Probably just to dust off and play and so forth and so on. There's a couple of Whippersco engines that I don't think either of them have ever been run, to be honest. It might be an opportunity at Glenray to actually give them a run if someone wants to run some engines. Tea and biscuits, g'day. See how that goes. This was new in its box kit. I put that together. That's a D3. Is it D5? D5? D3, D6, D5. Little oscillating engine. Well spotted, T&B. We'll get to that. This is their metric. They're not all the same, but this one's M5. I've got another boiler over there that's M6 on the bigger one. Right. I've got a whistle which had a plastic valve in it, and this has been an old stock engine that's been kicking around for a while. That's broken off. So probably if I get time, I'll make. Hey, fridge. I'll make a new piece or buy a new piece or something if I can find it. New whistle valve, plastic one or something. It's a bit ordinary. Good little whistle, but it'd be nice to have a valve in it. Might just buy a spring one instead, except that the spring one you buy is mostly all M6. It's a safety valve out of another boiler. It's M6. Just occurred to me that there's two different holes in there, and maybe one of them's M6 and one of them's M5. But maybe I'm wrong too. Anyway, so that's something we're working on, and this will do the job. There's no whistle on this one at this point. It hasn't had a run yet. I'd like to give it a clean up. I might give it a run at some point. Hey Nigel, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, that's a bit ordinary. Poor thing. That's a bit crap. This is missing one belt. Don't know where that is. I don't think I've ever ridden on that. I know this engine probably hasn't got enough horsepower to run that mill. I'm not going to give this a run tonight inside because it's sort of an outside thing here. Probably shouldn't run too many engines inside. I've got bricks for it, which are legal in the UK, but I've got them. It's not a bad little engine. Hasn't had a run yet. So they're out on the bench and been given a bit of a clean up. I've got a little saw bench and a grinder stone and a drill press there on the line shaft. So if someone finds that they've got enough time to come to Glenray and run some model engines, you can be custodian to a heap of them because there is quite a few. I've got a few running engines that I'd like to see piped up and running. Hasn't happened yet. So there we go. Gosh, I don't know where I'm going to put all this stuff. I run out of bench space in here this week. It's a bit terrible. It's a little workshop. It's brand new. I don't know if it's ever been run, to be honest. Might be fun if anyone's got any ideas. Probably some 4mm dowel might be the answer, or some dowel pins or something like that. Just some 4mm rod and some holes. If you've got a piece of plywood or a bench top or something, and drilled these the right distance apart, probably you could have them, say, you lift them on and off and put different engines on and stuff like that if you want to run them. So, don't know about that. I don't know if this will move much. Probably will, probably won't. But I don't think this has ever even been oiled, let alone run. We'll see that stuff over there. What else is happening? Got some green paint. Look at that. Don't know if that's a representation on the phone, but tin of green. This is nice stuff, actually. Water based. Bit of a fan. Cab on this is going to be green. That's about all I've done with that. Is put a tin of green paint. Did put the headlamps on. And did a little bit of sanding roughly around about, a bit of a clean up, painted down the side of the cab properly. Yeah, wasn't a lot happened with the Foden. Wasn't a lot happened with the Foden this last week. At some point we'll get back to it pretty soon. But next pieces really are cab sides and doors. And I've got them sort of drawn up, but printing them's a bit of a challenge. So we'll see how we go with that. Foundry Day. I'm going to put you down while I open this. I should have had that done. When I look at this. There we go. Sorry, guys. Got a core box here, which is correct profile and everything to make a core for a It's a really good question, Dan, because I'd like to give that a run too, like I really would. It's a nice engine. Good question. Let's see how we go with it. I might have a boiler that'll run it. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Got an air compressor anyway. Give that some thought. Anyway, got a core box that's, you should get in and finish it, yeah, in all your spare time. That's correct. This is the one tooth profile on the steering gear, worm gear. Jack has too much effort, it's not going to happen. This is what the sodium silicate core looks like. Having done a bit of travel, it's a bit knocked about by now, but it actually was a really nice core. This has got a bit of draft on this end. This is falling apart now. these fit together like this around in a circle. You know what I'm saying. There's 17 of them going around in a circle. We have a pattern that's full outside size with a core print in the middle, and we make a core for the centre. Get rid of a bit of the weight that we're pouring and a little bit of the shrinkage. And we have a depression in the sand, the same shape as this, the whole diameter. We put 17 of these around, appropriately sealed and finished and everything. And pour into the middle. Put the top on and fill it up with bronze. So that's roughly how this works. That's the theory with this. These are a pretty good fit together. I don't think there's going to be too much flashing on the top of the teeth or anything, and if there is, we can easily grind it off. This is not really travelled as well as I'd expected it to, but you've got to remember that. That's why we don't do some foundry work here and some up there. But that's the theory on building a worm gear for the roller. 17 teeth. There's 17 of these, and they all go around in a circle. They should fit nicely inside the pattern when you lift the pattern out. And then there should be left a print in the middle here and a print in the top part. And you put a solid core through so that you're not filling up the centre of the gear. And pour bronze into it and see what we end up with. So that's the theory. So that's something that I've been working on a bit. And got this one. Here's some questions for all the smart people who do foundry work. Don't know if Chirpy's here, but there are other smart people out there. This one I printed 1.5% oversized to allow for shrinkage. That's not quite right. This one is right on size, right? And 1.5% isn't much. You can see that there. It's not very much at all. So whether it actually even matters, I don't know. But this is how much. If we zoom in, that's sort of how much difference it is. So these are actually a little bit different in places. I think that goes that way, sort of, yeah. Because we're pouring into this, right? Say we've got, I'll put this tin here for a quarter, so it gives you some idea how much metal we've got here and what we're pouring into. Right? In a circle, you've got to imagine a circle around here. If we pour it into there and it shrinks, then I think that these have got to be 1.5% smaller rather than 1.5% bigger, because that gives you more meat between the teeth to cool and shrink. But I don't know if the shrinkage is across here or the shrinkage is across here. I think the shrinkage is probably across here. I don't think it's between here and here. So I'm still doing a bit of research on this to see whether we actually leave these standard size. This has been modified, but I think this is quite a bit loose in this. That gives you some idea how much loose it is. Or whether we make them a little bit under. So 1.5%, 2% or something under. Or whether we make them right on size and factor the shrinkage into some sort of backlash. I don't know. But yeah, even if it comes out 1.5% undersized, which is not much on a 10-inch gear, is only like It's not even 10 inches because you only got this gap between here and here to shrink, really. I mean, it does shrink a bit this way, but shrinkage is probably about 16 to 332 of an inch at the maximum across the diameter. So, don't know. Anyway, interesting. If anyone's got thoughts on that, love to hear some feedback. Probably just debate you on it, but I'm struggling a bit with that one. I'm going to have a look in a book about it. I've got some pattern making books and something will have something in it, but that's what I'm sort of messing with. So that's one job. No, shrinkage is pretty even across metal shrinks. If you've got something an inch square and 2 foot long, you'll get more shrinkage along. Well, you won't. You'll get the same percentage of shrinkage, but the shrinkage will be more noticeable along a long piece than something that's, say, 2 inches long like this is and 10 inches diameter, where the shrinkage will be noticeable on the diameter. Haven't really got my head around it yet. But what I do know is if we get a couple of these core boxes made up, then and a pattern, we can probably pull this pretty simply and pretty easily. No big deal. How to go to printing the other one of these plates. This one goes on one side of the engine. That's a fair point, Tea and Biscuits. This one goes on one side of the engine. There's another one that's Austral Engineering Supply Co. In Sydney. Sole agents, etc., New South Wales. Don't think they were, but they like to say they were. That goes on the other side of the engine, and we've been having to go with that. But that's quite a big plate. It's about 600 and something long and about 200 to 180 deep or something, 200 deep. It's a pretty serious plate compared to that one. There's a lot of small letters on it. So we poured one, and to be honest, wasn't real happy with the colour of it, and wasn't real happy with the way it poured or ran, and it was a bit of a challenge to ram it up. So I'd have another go at that and see how we go. We might get better off, but I think Karen's going to make me a new pattern at some point. She's CNC'd the pattern, and it's got a bit of furry on it, which isn't helping anything. So we had to go at that on Tuesday. Varying success with that one. It's not really a particularly successful job. But anyway. Could I make the plank thicker? The plank. Make that, yes, the new pattern is going to be another 3mm or 4mm or something on top of that. So instead of being 7mm, I think it's going to be 9 or 10. So it'll run a bit better. Hey James. But yeah, it's a bit of a job, that one. It's a fun job. Not going to be an easy job on a good day, to be honest. Excuse me. So that was Tuesday. Did that. Don't know, I thought I had heaps to cover to talk about tonight, but I don't know. Now, if someone's interested in watching this, right, I know there's people watch this. I know of a low temp metal centrifugal forge and vulcanized, cold vulcanized rubber moulding system that might be for sale locally. If anyone's got any use for it, hit me up. If anyone wants that, or has got a place for it, doesn't mind me coming and helping out sometimes, I'd be keen on passing on details for that. That might be really fun. Hey, Bill. Might be really fun. So hit us up if you're interested in that. There's centrifuges and there's vulcanizing gear for setting that up, and there's furnace and refractory and crucibles and all that stuff. If you're making rally badges flat out, that'd be just the gear to set up. That's sort of what it's designed for, as much as anything. If you want to do low melting point alloy, pewter and stuff like that. It's reasonably close, but yeah, it's northern New South Wales. Anyway, put that out there. I at this point don't know where I'm going to be in 12 months, so I really don't want to commit to something like that, even though it'd be a very cool thing to have. But 90% of the patterns or modern parts I cast now are bronze or brass. So there we go. Picked this up. Someone passed me this out of the scrap and said, "Yeah, this is yours. It looks like something you'd use." Don't know if it is something I'd use. I'd say it's a pretty terrible thread on it. Look at that cast-in thread. I'd say it's a barrel pump or a barrel tap. See, bizarrely, this thread's a bit strange. You see, that's parallel. That thread's parallel on that side, and if you come around this side, it's got a place there where it jumps up one thread. So while it's threaded all the way around, they're just parallel threads with which is a bit interesting. There's just parallel threads with about that space from there to there. Is where it jumps up one thread. So it comes around and then jumps up and then goes around again and jumps up again. So I'm guessing it's a wooden barrel plug to go in a tapered hole in a wooden barrel, a board tapered hole. I don't know how waterproof or anything it'd be, but it's quite a nice piece. Might be useful. Anyway, pick that up. Here we go, while we have a show and tell. Might put this back in here so it doesn't get too damaged or got too much sand anywhere. This has got it tapered this way, which matches the taper this way. So basically that slides in fairly nicely that way. If you put it down and stretch this apart, that sits nicely in there like that. So that's how that goes, and then this one closes up on it, and it's got a hole in there for carbon dioxide, CO2, so that it goes off. But shouldn't be a big job to make, and this was quite a good casting, but it's very fragile. It's quite a good sand piece, but it's very fragile. Bill, you're right. It's been made by someone who was testing barrels. Something written on here. G. Cheeves. G. Cheevers, Boston. I'm guessing Boston, MA. Oh, interesting. So this had really good detail on here, and I think it's going to be good. And get some proper foundry coating to put on these before we cast it to get everything holding together and to prevent washout and to prevent bad surface finish and stuff. So we might do that, but I think they're going to be really good. There's sand everywhere here now. Also picked these up, which were too good to miss out on. There's a gentleman who was selling up because his wife's got dementia and he doesn't think he'll be making anything in his retirement after all. It's a bit of a pity, to be honest. But this is a Maryborough one, P&N. It's a Queensland set. A few. Whitworth. I think it's 5/16 3/8, 7/16 half inch and quarter. So quarter and a half inch. It's missing a couple of taps. But this is an 1.5 inch set, and I've got a few new 1.5 inch button dies. So this is a really nice set to have here at home. Pretty awesome actually, and it matches all my other boxes. So that's a nice set. That's pretty nice. I've got a few sets, I guess. Got one off Mark II recently that needs a little bit of tidy love. But this is probably going to be my go-to set because I've got new 1.5 inch stuff that I can use with it, which is really nice. And I haven't got a decent 1.5 inch button die holder because you can't get them anywhere. Otherwise, there's this set. Which also I got. It was a pretty good deal actually. And this set's worth way more than what I paid for it. One piece out of this cost way more than what I paid for it. This is a P&N set too, straight in set. It's the later one in the tin box, not very common. And it's got plastic insert, but this is a 2-inch set. And it's a pretty good 2-inch set. It's got all the guides and everything on it. It's a small set too. I think it's 3/16 through to inch. So if you had to buy inch plug tap and inch button die and inch taper tap and 2-inch button dies, what do you got? A couple $300 probably, without any of the rest of it. You start messing around and buying this, which is a proper cast iron one's really nice, and a couple of decent die stocks, which I already have these bits, but these are brand new pretty much, 2-inch button dies. They've not done a lot of work, I wouldn't think, and they've all got the guides which go in there first like that, and like that, which is probably a better system than the crappy adjustable ones that always seem to fall apart and wear out. I think this is quite a good system. You've got a separate die for each button die. My other set, for comparison, We are zooming in a bit. There's a couple of buttons, there's a couple of taps missing. That's all. There's 3/16 plug tap. That one's probably not part of. One of these isn't part of the kit, I would say. That one's a PN. What's this one? This is a PN too. This one's quite a bit older, though, I would say. There's 3/16 one missing, and a quarter and a 5/16 the plug tap. I might replace those, and the 3/16 taper tap. So that's a pretty nice set. It's really nice, Australian made, pretty fancy, excellent thing. If we have a look in here, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's the same. I can get out very easily. Let's have a look. There's my new 1.5" button die holder, which is a bit crap, to be honest. Way too many things in here. Get this out. This set's about worn out, which is a bit of an issue. That's what started all this off. There we go. Now this set's a P&N set with a wooden box, the same, right? Nice. This is a Victoria set, I think. I think this is a Victorian assembled one. Right, this has done a lot of work, some of these, right? This is 3/4. 3/4 inch to 3/4, I think this set is. 3/4 10. This set is older than me. It's ancient. It's the original pattern. This is basically the same thing, except it's got one of these turny things that is adjustable. Taps and dies are pretty easy. Die gets blunt when you're... Good question, James. Hey, Randy. Die is blunt when you cut a thread with it and it no longer screws. There's a bolt no longer screws in the hole. Simple as that. When they cut undersize, well, when you cut a thread with it, no longer screws in a standard thread. You've got problems. So I know a lot of this is worn out. The 1/2 inch one in particular, as I've used that a fair bit, and it's basically worn out. Very nice to have that replaced. And there's no taps left in this at all. So this is an old set. Equal to the world's best. Would like very much to have some of these stickers made up. P&N stickers, and get rid of them. Or to pass them on or something. It's sort of a bit of a pipe dream, but it probably won't happen. I might leave this box of 1200 wet and dry out. Obviously had too much money at one point. It was probably quite a long time ago, but I'm going to put this away, guys. Because there's a fucking packet. And 20 or 30 sheets of 1200 wet and dry, and it's Sia brand. So obviously too much disposable income, but very nice. Yeah, tin spaghetti's the answer. Absolutely, that's the answer, as you can see. Team Biscuit's got it sorted. Bill, you got the same set minus the box, the big set. leave that with me. I've probably got about 6 boxes here, to be honest, if we're going to have a look at them. We've probably got boxes here everywhere coming out our ears. So if you work out which bits you've got, I've got a parcel coming to you fairly soon, so could probably do that. You've probably all seen this box now. While it's out, we'll have a look at this. Right, this is my die finishing stone set. Not really a set, it's just a box of bits that have sort of happened, and they're all in the same box, so it's all together, so it's really a set. But these are borrowed finishing stones down to, I think there's a new box of 800s, or it's not, so it's a slightly used box of 800s. 220, 320, 180. I think they're probably, just have a look, I think that's like 140, 120 grit or something. It's EDM stones, the really coarse ones. Fine stuff, more fine stuff, all different shapes and sizes and stuff. Better than files. They get a fair bit of use actually around here. So that's one of those nice things. Yeah, money on consumables is better than money in the bank. That's right. This is a nice set of stones, and they belong in here. If I die prematurely and broke, which you all know are going to happen, something's catching there. I don't know what that is in the back here. First in best dressed with these. Probably give them to Joe actually, because Joe seems to use them more than I do. So there we go. That's all the stuff that's happening in my shop. Bit stoked with this actually. I was kind of bought them as a club set, but I think I'm going to hang on to them and put them in the back of the van in a workbox at some point and have them there for when we need them. Because up to inch wood was pretty damn nice actually. But I'll get it all back together and running nice. Stuart needs a week's notice, that's fair. But some of this stuff, I don't know. If we're going to go there, this one I'll probably go to Steam Shed eventually, but at this point I'm going to hang on to it because it's too useful to have at home sometimes. Because I haven't got 7/8 or inch taps and dies anywhere. I think there's 7/8 in there. Yeah, 7/8 9, 3/4 10, 7/8 9, inch 8, and taps to patch. So box probably needs a lick of paint, but then you destroy the sticker. So probably give this a clean up with a bit of sugar soap or something maybe, and mask it up and give it a coat of silver hematone. But hematone paint's hard to get too, so we might live with this. Don't want it too shiny. So that's one of the things. That's pretty nice. What else? Did that? You got Peter's initials on them already? Yeah, I don't know. Um, unless your middle name starts with that letter, ampersand. So, bit of a score. Now, my game plan at the moment, right, by the end of August, that truck's got to be finished, whatever we're at with it. And there it sits there. It's starting to look like a truck, but there's still a bit of work in it. Need to get that finished, right? As far as a workshop job goes, I'd like to get that little hit and miss engine back in and do a bit to that. That's sort of, I'd like to get that going. And to do that, yeah, there's a bit of work that needs to be done. But that's sort of the game plan. I'd like also to get on and do a bit with this whistle. We are stalled a bit with the whistle because, not so much stalled, but casting this is not going to be a fun thing. That gear's comparatively easy compared to this thing. This particular casting is going to be one of life's challenges. Is going to be one of the most complicated things I've ever cast. I can get it cast in China cheap. I could probably fabricate it up. I haven't given it a whole lot of thought for the last week or 3 weeks or so. We've got a road run, if the rain fixes, right? And here's the thing, if the rain sorts itself out in this next week and it dries out, it's got to dry out. And after the 25th, which is not this weekend but the one after, we'll have a decide whether we're going to do a road run on my birthday, which is the 1st of June. I'd really very much like to do that. Now I've actually talked it up. It stopped raining here for 10 minutes, but it's going to rain again. I've been talked into a road run that was, when it first was broached, I was pretty resolutely thinking it's going to be a bit of a stretch. But now I really want to do it. I'd really like to do it. It needs to stop raining for a week beforehand, right? That brings us through to June, though. So you would think by the middle of March, middle of May, at some point it'll stop raining here in Queensland, southeast, like northern New South Wales and southeast Queensland. You would think it would have stopped raining by now, but it hasn't. So that's on my itinerary for the 1st of June, 31st of May, 1st of June, 2nd of June, that weekend. Get the roller out, run around town, come back. And we've got all our ducks in a row, pretty much, except for the rain, to do that. It's a bit fucking crazy though, but anyway, the rain's not fun. So that's that weekend. Now, hopefully it stopped raining by then, everything's good, because the end of that month, or the end of July, which is actually 2 months further on, or it's 7 weeks, or 6 or 7 weeks further on, is Glenray Timberfest. And really want to do that, really want to get that sorted, and I'm sure that'll happen. It stopped raining, but anyway, sure that'll happen, and pretty keen to be part of that. So that's the 26th, I think, the 26th of July, end of July. It's going to be an awesome weekend. So put that in your calendars. And then the National Rally. heap. It's a bit crazy. Tea biscuits haven't had monetization sorted yet. It's going to take a month. Anyway, monetization, that's quite a mouthful. So national rallies at the end of August, or the last half of August, because it's 10 days. Bit crazy. It's at Toowoomba. I was talking to some of the organisers this morning. We were taking a roller on a portable engine, which is quite an undertaking. Take 2 engines up and run them is pretty serious, a road engine and a portable. Probably we've bitten off more than we can chew on any level, but we'll get there and we'll do it. We've got a bit of a team, and there's some awesome people who have volunteered to help with the qualifications to do it all and get it going. So I think it's doable, but that's a crazy job. On the first 2 days, there's a road run. Now, the road run has been... There are 17 engines. 17 engines so far spoken for the road run. So it's 40 kilometres with 17 engines. Wow. They're not all Queensland engines. Some of them are South Australian engines even, and New South Wales and Victorian engines. Furthest engine I think is coming from South Australia. That's given away some things, but anyway, 17 engines, something like that. If they're all in steam by the time it happens. And I know at least 2 of them are in bits, and probably 3. Anyway. So there's 2 days with the road run. It's 40 kilometres from across Toowoomba, basically, I think. So that's going to be pretty awesome, pretty amazing. And then the main event is for the rest of this, for that coming week, all the way through till Friday. And I believe that at last count, which was some time ago, there were 55 engines coming, and I believe there's funding for some more as we speak. So people are still trying to get engines. So 55 full-size steam engines plus miniatures, etc., etc., etc. So that's pretty crazy. It's an event not to be missed. I had a friend who said, "Hey, that's as many engines as Midwest Old Threshers in Ohio, in Ohio, yeah." That's as big as that. It's a pretty serious engine. It's not quite Great Dorset Steam Fair sort of standards, but it's a pretty serious engine rally. And 55, I think 33 of them or something are road engines and the rest are portables. Something like that. Some sort of division like that. So pretty excited about that. And then there's an extra 2 days at the end, and we're probably going to bow out halfway through that and come home. And then we've got to drive the thing down the road and put it to bed and crash, basically. Get home. And so that's where we're at with that. Bit effing crazy, but that's what's happening in the next 3 months. Dan's crazy busy too, and there's other stuff happening. There's actively trying to get club rooms off the ground and all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit manic, to be honest. It's a bit manic. We could do without the rain. Things would run a lot more smoothly without the rain at this point. So if anyone knows how to stop it, Florida have ban chemtrails. I noticed that. It's a very important stand we've taken. I'm not sure that it's entirely chemtrails, but it's included in it. So I'm waiting for the first prosecutions of people who put chemtrails up in Florida, because I'm not sure how you police that. But anyway, that's how that is. And I imagine that chemtrails will happen anyway, because they're not really chemtrails. Anyway, bit crazy. Anyone who wants to come and help polish a roller on any weekend between now and then, or concurrently, or in between, either here in Queensland or while it's up at Dalby, or wherever it is, or before Glenray at Fridges, or at Glenray. Shoot me a line, because I've got plenty of rag, I've got plenty of brasso, and I've got scrapers, and I've got degreaser and stuff if you want a job. Absolutely keen. So that's how that's happening. That's why there's not a lot happening in the workshop at the moment. There's a few little jobs to get the roller going. No progress on the launch, sorry James. No progress on the whistle. Some progress on foundry jobs, but it's there's 2 or 3 foreigner foundry jobs for friends that have got to be done at some point. And there's a hardness tester repair, or a new casing for a hardness tester. The mechanical part's done. It's just a casing for a hardness tester that's got to be pattern made and cast and finished and fitted for Bill's hardness tester. He's got a Japanese hardness tester. It's quite a nice thing, but it's also very space age design, really. So there's some interesting curves and things in that. Kingsthorpe fridge says fridge is all over it. See, Team Biss is not going to do the Advent series again. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. And once they've gone and come and gone, no one looks at them again. That's the other thing. Whereas videos, I think, are sort of, at least people watch them regularly again down the track. I still see comments on old videos I've forgotten to even put up. Anyway, that's where we're at. There was a video. Who's got a video up? Team Biscuit's got a video up on his car repair job, or car rebuild job, on his club car, putting that together, which is awesome. Good video. There's one from Nigel saying that he's broken his ankle, which was a bit silly, but I hope he didn't have to get plates in it or anything. I don't know if there was an update on that yet, Nigel, but I'm sorry to hear that. It's a bit miserable. It's not the last thing you need when you're trying to get things done and you're in the mood. We only do anything for the views, Peter. No videos for Dan, apparently. Anyway, that's how that's happening. That's what's all going down. I've got an email about ready to press the send button on for all this laser cutting. So the minute that's done, they'll quote on it pretty quick, and I'll probably even have it back before sort of Monday or Tuesday next week, I reckon. And there's 1,000 jobs. So next week we'll go through and look at all that. There's a lot of bits in that, but if I could pick that up Monday or Tuesday next week, I'd be pretty happy. But need to get it off tonight. I've been hanging out for Joe to end up with a file, but he doesn't seem like he's going to, so I'm just going to send it. Good luck with that, Joe. Good luck with that, Nigel. Tomorrow you need to put a plate screwed in. That's not much fun. Good luck. Fingers crossed for you. Anyway, there we go. That's how that goes. If anyone wants to come to Glenray for the weekend, you won't be a lot out of pocket. There's some camping. We can probably get you in on that. You need to be a member of the New South Wales Road Steam Association, which you should all be members of that anyway. It's a good club. It's the best club. And if anyone wants to join up, I'd be very happy to send membership details. But that's the New South Wales Road Steam Association. And support our club. And if you want to come to Glenray and run some model steam engines and sit at a table all day, watch the donation box and stuff, you're very welcome to. Just hit us up. I'm pretty good with a battery all day, and I reckon we could do it. Between us, I reckon we could work it out. And usually they've got instructions on them. There are people that said you probably couldn't empty water out of a boot with instructions written underneath, but it can't be that hard, you're right. It's a bit of Dremel work and a bit of hacksaw work and some self-tappers, basically. I think that's about all it is. Not much to it. Anyway. Sorry, Nigel, that's a bit rough, but I'm putting you off your dinner or anything. So, there we go. That's pretty well covered my week, I think. That's about where we're at with it. That's sort of what's happened. If you want a bit of added drama, you could probably borrow Dan's robot to do it. Well, actually, Joe's got a robot. We could use Joe's robot. Dan knows how to operate him. So, there we go. That's my calendar, and thanks for letting me debrief on you. Not sure what's happening otherwise, but we have got a truck that's going to be green and red. And what else? We've got some castings on the way, and we've got some new tools. So all's right with the world, really, except for the rain. If the rain stopped, it'd be great. The rain sort of guarantees. The rain stops for a week, and this next week, it guarantee everything that we've got planned will happen. Pretty much. But I'm not sure that it's just wet. It's just miserable. It's wet here, and it's wet down there, and it's wet everywhere else. It's been bucketing down here all day, really on and off, and bucketing down all night last night, and I reckon it's about to start again in rain. Another thing I did on Tuesday was go and pick up Dan's generator for the TEF Ferguson TEF20. There's the little Ferguson diesel, Bree Perkins, or the 4-cylinder inline diesel with the cannon bearings, the tunnel bearings. Dan has one of them. Not sure why, but he has one. It's pretty tidy and it runs and starts really well when it's got electricity. So he's had the generator done up at Vulture, and I went up on Tuesday and picked that up and paid the man $100 for doing it up, which I thought was a kind of good deal. If we plug it in and it works and someone else needs the job done, we'll hand out his details, no worries at all. Because, yeah, it looks alright, but I don't know whether it's going to work or not. He said to test up, okay. So that's another job. Yeah, standard Vanguard, I believe. Yeah. The standard motor company was Vanguard, and what else did Vanguard? What else did Standard Motor Company make? Vanguard and Comma. No, not Comma. Ferguson. Vanguard. Yeah, I'd have to think about that for a bit. It could be Coventry. Standard was the petrol. The petrol was the Standard motor. Was made by Standard Motor Company. That was the same motor as the Vanguard car, because if you pulled the bits off a Vanguard, because I know someone who actually did that. I remember them putting a Vanguard head on a Ferguson tractor and discovering that it was quite a bit quicker on the road than it used to be, because there are obviously some differences between the car and the tractor as far as porting and carburetors and things. Anyway, whatever it is, it's got a Lucas generator on it, which doesn't bear really even. I mean, that's not a good start. But anyway, it's obviously done up, and it's had new armature, I think, and another armature and new bearings and stuff. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think the Vanguard engine in the Fergie was sort of they get along but wouldn't pull much. Change the head and the carbies over again, and you end up with a much better machine. Anyway, that's me for tonight. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to our... There was quite a few people tuned into our on-shape tutorial last night, or whatever it was, show and tell. What we did was drew up a gasket. For Dan's Roby steam engine, and I've emailed that through to Queensland Gaskets for quotes on that. And no, the MG was different. The MG was a BMC engine. The MG was the same as 1800. Like the Austin 1800 had the same engine, except it was... The MG had cross-flow head and carbies on the other side, I think. And the 1800 had SUs and yeah, carbies on the front. Anyway, I used to know stuff about them. Don't break any bones, but promise not to. That's where I'm at. Anyway, be kind to each other, especially to me. And randoms you don't know. Don't be mean and hateful to randoms you don't know. I haven't been political at all this stream, which is excellent. I've really been very restrained. But don't be mean to people you don't know or you don't understand, because that's just a miserable thing to do. Don't do that. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you next time. What I was going to say is next week is hardness tested design week, I think. Anyway. Yeah, be mean to some of the ones you know, or the ones that deserve it. Yep. No, don't. Just be nice to people. Doesn't cost any extra. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks, guys. See you next week.